Why? Or is there anything else in there? There may be something else in the vase, but the neck is too narrow to reach in with my hand. There may be something else. There may be something else in the vase. There may be. There may be some. There may be some. There may be something else in. I wonder what information. If I did. The blood. Somehow. That's odd. The blood is so red. Shouldn't it gradually darken in the air? Turn brown? There may be some. There may be something. Could work. There's something in there. Someone stuffed this in the vase. Looks like it's been used to muffle a gunshot. If this isn't an important discovery, I don't know what is. Legrand, here I come. A singed pillowcase is proof that there must have been a second gunshot. Inspector?
Can't you knock?
I didn't realize.
I'm not getting anywhere. I'm going to question each passenger individually. Anyone without an airtight alibi will be checked for gunshot residue.
But, Inspector...
People trip up when you put pressure on them, Constable Zellner. The Raven is nervous. He's changed his methodology and become a murderer. I'll see it in his eyes. After you.
But, Inspector Legrand... We have no proof that the Raven and the murderer are the same person. Quite the opposite. The Baroness's message hints at the fact that she knew the murderer and that he'd killed before.
You may not know it, but I do. I will catch him with or without your help.
I don't believe it. What's gotten into him? Oh, well. It makes no sense to tell him about my theories if his opinion is already set. I need evidence. Or better yet, the murderer. I also need his lab if I'm going to get anywhere. I need to get in there somehow. And I really need to talk to the stowaway. He may have information, and the inspector will just ignore him since he's too young to be the Raven. Legrand locked the door. The lock isn't especially secure. If I had a wire or something like that, I could probably pick it. The death of...
Mr. Kreutzer, come on, you have to give me a bit more. You're the only one who was on the train and who has no alibi for last night.
As I said, I was in my cabin.
Are you sure that it was your cabin and not the Baroness's?
Legrand will question the guests, one after another. But if he doesn't get the answers that he wants to hear, it could become unpleasant for them. Lady Westmacott, may I bother you for a moment?
By all means, Mr. Zellner.
How is the questioning going?
Are you implying that I'm an eavesdropper? The inspector is placing a lot of pressure on our dear Mr. Kreutzer. He's the only one who was on the train and who doesn't have an alibi for last night.
Perhaps. But him? A murderer?
I know people like him. He doesn't have enough backbone to kill someone in cold blood and remain so calm. He'd turn it into a drama and then a farce, drink himself insensible and then, railing at fate, pitch himself into the sea. Forget him. Legrand is wasting his time. Mr. Kreutzer just happens to be a perfect fit for the inspector's image of the Raven.
Athletic, cultured, moves among the rich and famous.
I'll eat his violin if he's the Raven or the murderer.
I have to be going, Lady Westmacott.
Please keep me informed, Constable Zellner.
Of course. I shouldn't bother her until I have some news. Her mind... Captain de Conti seems old and tired. The price you pay for a life like his, I suppose. I'm sure Captain de Conti wouldn't mind a chat, but I don't think he can help me at the moment. Miss Mayers seems to have found an opportunity to do nothing. And could the second, if I want, he won't let... Matt is keeping himself busy with that strange game. He seems to be okay again, but I think he'd be running around all over the place if he'd really come to terms with what happened on the train. Hello there, partner.
Hi.
Are you all right?
Uh-huh.
Have you recovered from our adventure?
Mm-hmm. Mr. Zellner.
Hmm?
What's going on?
What do you mean?
Everybody's acting so strange. And there's tape across that door. I saw that in a movie once.
You don't have to be worried.
Is it about the man from the train?
It might be about the thief, yes.
Haven't you caught him yet?
I'm working on it.
Okay.
I heard you and your mom used to argue a lot.
We did. Everything was bad. The house, school, the other kids. We didn't have much money, and I was always alone.
You do know that your mother would love to have been with you, don't you? She had to go out to work to earn money.
She wouldn't have had to, if Dad were still around.
And how do you get along with her now?
I'm always happy when we do something together on vacation. She has more time for me now, and I like my boarding school. I have lots of friends, and the teachers aren't so bad.
Your mother and Professor Lucien seem to be on very good terms with each other. Don't you like him?
Don't know.
He seems to be very nice.
I guess.
Lady Westmacott is all by herself in the saloon. Maybe you'd like to visit her later.
Sure, the lady tells exciting stories.
I know. She's my favorite writer.
She told me that it's not much fun to write detective novels. She'd rather write something else, but her fans always want the same thing.
They made her rich and famous.
I told her to write what she wants to write. If it's good, someone will buy it. And if not, at least she had fun writing it. Then she smiled and nodded. She said it was a good idea.
What are you playing there?
I'm playing shuffleboard. At least I'm trying to.
Never played it before.
It's easy. Professor Lucien explained it to me.
And who won?
We didn't play.
You didn't want to play with him, did you? Do you want to play a game with me?
Sure.
Then let's get started.
Oh, yeah. What are we playing for?
I thought we'd just play for fun.
That's boring. We have to bet something. Otherwise, it isn't fun.
You English people.
So I'll bet my brand new slingshot. And you?
I don't want to gamble.
How about ice cream in Cairo?
Okay. If I win, I get the slingshot. If I lose, I get an ice cream in Cairo.
Hey! Never try to cheat Matt Miller. So, what do you say? Ice cream versus slingshot?
All right. Let the games begin. That's it.
Oh, man.
The athlete wins the day.
One more time.
No, that's enough for me.
All right. Here,
Are you sure?
gambling debts are debts of honor.
I'll give it back to you when I don't need it anymore, okay?
Okay, but make sure my mom doesn't catch you with it. She thinks it's dangerous.
Miss Miller and the professor are talking intensely. She seems pretty relaxed, by her standards. Good morning, Miss Miller. Professor Lucien?
Constable Zellner, how are you? I heard you passed out last night.
Well, not quite. I was poisoned.
Oh,
That wretch!
Who do you mean by that wretch?
That stowaway! That new Raven!
The young man can't be the murderer. Constable Oliver had already apprehended him when the shot was fired.
You mean...
Whoever killed the Baroness is still on the loose.
I think I should take my leave. I'd like to rest for a while.
One last question, Professor. Do you think the eye is well protected in the safe in Legrand's cabin?
Of course it is. They assured me that it would take hours of work with heavy machinery to crack the safe. And if Legrand isn't in his cabin, Constable Oliver or I check that everything is in order every hour.
I understand.
I want to go back to my cabin. I'll see you later, Mary.
oh, of course. See you later.
I didn't want to interrupt your conversation with Professor Lucien so abruptly.
I don't know what's wrong with him.
Learning that there's still a burglar on board seemed to frighten him.
He was so relaxed the whole time, and then
And then the stupid Swiss constable came by and made him anxious.
Oh, I didn't mean that.
No matter. I'm sure he'll calm down and come back soon enough. May I ask you a few questions?
Of course.
How is Matt? He seems happy enough.
After all the commotion, he's already back to his old self again. But I haven't told him about the murder. That would be a bit too much for him.
I think he's made of sterner stuff.
I want to thank you again for what you did on the train. I wouldn't have known...
Everything's fine. Think nothing of it. How was last night for you?
It was awful. I was having a conversation with Edgar, Professor Lucien, here on the forecastle. Then I wanted to look for the lady and went forward via the side deck. When I passed the Baroness's cabin, I heard a muffled scream.
You heard a scream?
Yes. I thought the Baroness probably had a fall. I went to the door and listened for a moment. Since I couldn't hear anything, I knocked on the door and asked whether she was all right. There was no answer.
Interesting. And then?
I didn't know what to do, so I tried to open the door. It was locked. I saw the Baroness's butler, Mr. Inch, on the forecastle. I thought he might have the key and went back. On the way, the bobby crossed my path, and then Edgar, who wanted to check the safe. I explained the situation to him, and then the alarm went off.
How did the scream sound?
It was a short outcry, very frightened, as if someone had been startled.
Was it a woman's voice?
Yes, the voice was high.
So it could have been a scream from the Baroness. Possibly because she discovered someone in her cabin.
Possibly.
That person might have threatened her with a weapon, so that she wouldn't scream for help.
Oh, God.
He waited until the coast was clear.
Oh, please, stop it, Mr. Zellner.
The Baroness's butler said that he was on the forecastle as well?
Yes, he was standing on the other side of the deck smoking a cigarette.
Was he on the forecastle the whole time?
I'm not sure. He was there, and later he was on the side deck with us. Oh, yes, he looked after you while you were unconscious. He unbuttoned your collar and held your head while the doctor checked you.
But you can't say for certain whether he came from the forecastle with you and Professor Lucien, or afterwards.
Well, no. But where else could he have come from?
Did you report that to Inspector Legrand?
Yes, last night. He was very interested and took a lot of notes. But I wanted to look for Lady Westmacott, and he let me go without further delay. He said that he'd take down my full statement today.
I understand.
Do you think the man from the train also killed the Baroness, Constable Zellner?
I don't know yet.
It's horrible. Explosions, thieves, murderers. This isn't the right place for a lady and a little boy.
You and Professor Lucien seem to be having a lively conversation.
Oh, yes. He's an expert in ancient Egyptian art and preeminent in hieroglyphic research. He's the head of the Egyptian department in the British Museum, you know. And he's going to open an exhibition at the Egyptian Museum in Cairo.
Right. For the eye.
They had planned on exhibiting both jewels together for the first time in decades, but that's not going to happen now, sadly. I think it's quite upsetting for him.
We're working hard to ensure that at least one eye will be on display.
I know. I'll ask Lady Westmacott if she'd like to participate in the opening of the exhibition. I think it would be good for her.
And Professor Lucien will surely offer you a private tour. You're American, aren't you?
That's correct.
And you moved to England because of the job?
I lived in England before. During the Second World War, I volunteered. I worked in a pharmacy on a US base north of London.
In a pharmacy? Interesting.
Well, it was the war and everyone was sent where they could help best.
Please, go on, Mrs. Miller.
After the war, I studied music in London. I met my husband there. We married and went back to the States together.
He was also American?
No, English. But he said he had problems with his family and he wanted to be as far from them as possible.
And you gave up your studies for him?
Well, yes, I did.
Life as a single mother couldn't have been easy.
It was pretty tough then. I worked from morning till night and it was still only enough for the bare necessities. And I couldn't give Matt all the attention he needed.
And then Lady Westmacott entered your life.
It was like an angel appeared to me. She must have offered me the position out of pity. I had no experience as a carer. She made me a generous offer. I couldn't believe it. And she really adores Matt. She's offered him a good education, and now he has every opportunity in life.
An almost unbelievable story.
I'm still afraid that it's a dream and that I'll wake up one day.
How does it feel to work for such a world-famous person?
The work is very interesting and varied, and it pays well, too.
You are very lucky that the lady offered the position to you.
I just hope she won't change her mind one day. What would become of Matt's education then? I really make an effort to measure up to Lady Westmacott's expectations, but sometimes I feel like I fall short.
Lady Westmacott couldn't ask for a better companion.
I'm saving up as much money as I can all the same. I'd do anything so that Matt doesn't have to give up his new life.
Lady Westmacott dropped a hint on the train that she killed her hero, Partout. What did she mean by that?
Oh, she must have meant the manuscript.
Manuscript?
She always takes it with her. It's an unpublished Partout novel. I once asked her why she never published it. She said that according to her will, the novel's only to be published after her death.
And in it, Partout will be killed?
Maybe. I've never read it. No one has. You'd better ask her yourself.
If you worked in a pharmacy, you would certainly know something about medicines and poisons.
Everything is a potential poison, Constable. It depends on the dose.
Have you ever heard of chloral hydrate?
It's a tranquilizer, isn't it?
I'm asking you.
Lady Westmacott also asked questions like that for her last novel. But since I've never wanted to kill anyone, I never bothered with things like strychnine and arsenic and all that. I could recommend something for a headache, sore throat, or rash.
That's kind of you, but there's really no need. I'll be seeing you, Miss Miller.
Constable?
What do you want?
Inspector Legrand is questioning the first of the passengers in the saloon.
And?
It will be hours before he gets to the stowaway.
And?
We'll save time if I question him.
We'd also save time if you stopped asking me the same things over and over again. I will not let you in. What time is it, by the way?
Got an appointment?
No, but I'm hungry.
Go and get yourself something. I'll mind the door in the meantime.
Aha. You could bring me something, though.
Go and get your food yourself. I have better things to do.
Oh yeah, like unmasking a murderer? I'm sure you're up to it. Judging by your age and rank, you must have solved loads of spectacular cases in the past.
No, I was sidelined and spent my days sitting on my behind. Does that sound familiar to you? The bottle should be full of water, unless the good constable happens to have a secret alcohol problem. No way to verify that. I can't get the bottle without him noticing. All right.
Ow! 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 Ah! Hey, Zelda, what in blazes was that?
What?
Something hit me!
You mean someone shot at you?
Yes, well, no, I don't know. Didn't you notice anything?
I was riveted by the fantastic view. We Swiss aren't used to seeing the horizon like this.
And my bottle's broken too! Oh, I don't believe this.
The bottle is nothing more than broken glass in a puddle. If Constable Oliver gets thirsty now, he'll be in a bind. I should help out.
What's the matter now? Did you bring me something to eat?
So, what do you want to eat?
Oh, anything. An apple or something like that.
Leave it with me.
Yeah, thanks.
Whatever Constable Oliver wants, he's getting ham and eggs. And just a pinch of salt for our friendly constable. Good. Constable Oliver.
Huh?
Ham and eggs, piping hot.
I shouldn't really.
I don't see anyone here who'd rebuke you. It was a hard night.
Yeah, true. Oh, delicious. Just enough salt. Oh, that was good of you. Cheers.
You don't expect me to wash your dirty dishes as well, do you?
Oh, of course not, Your Majesty. Could you bring me something to drink? Those ham and eggs were pretty salty.
I'm sorry. I have to proceed with my investigations. Goodbye. Let's see how long he can resist his thirst. Not long at all. Nervous? I would be too in your position. Who are you?
My name is Adil, and you are...
Constable Zellner. Why did you sneak onto the ship, Adil?
I wanted to go back home.
You're Egyptian?
There's no work for me in Italy. I want to see my family again.
And since you don't have money, you stowed away.
So what if I did?
So, it was you who knocked me out.
Me? Never.
No? Where were you when I was attacked?
Well, I couldn't take anything with me on this trip, so I snuck into the kitchen and took some canned goods.
Interesting. And how do you know when I was attacked?
Well, I thought it was yesterday, shortly before we set sail.
I take this bump personally. What were you searching for on deck last night?
I was hiding the whole evening. I wanted to go out and get some fresh air, see the stars. But then suddenly, they were looking for me.
Were you in one of the cabins?
No!
Did you see anyone on the deck or on the roof?
No!
And after we arrested you?
The English policeman put me in this cell. Then he left. I've been here ever since.
And you didn't notice anything along the way?
No, nothing.
What about the gunshot? Didn't you hear it?
Yes. The English policeman had already arrested me. We heard a bang and looked around.
And then?
Then, the Bobby was in a hurry to get rid of me. He almost pushed me down the stairs and locked me in here. He left, and then a short time later, the alarm went off.
Constable Oliver wasn't with you anymore when the alarm went off?
No. I was scared that the ship would sink with me sitting here like a rat in a trap.
It's hard for me to believe a single word of your story.
Because I'm a foreigner?
Because you seem to have learned our language in the space of a day. Accent-free.
Believe what you want.
Who paid you to distract us?
What?
You went for a walk around the deck and let yourself be seen. Everyone goes off hunting you, and in the meantime, your partner shoots the Baroness in peace.
No, I didn't do anything. I didn't want to distract anyone. I just want to go home.
You're a liar, and a bad one at that.
But sir, I'm telling the truth.
And I'm the Raven. Inspector Legrand will deal with you. He's lying like a cheap rug. But he probably doesn't know anything about the murder. Very disappointing. So I have to keep searching. What interests me most is the shot that was fired here in the cargo hold last night. Whoever fired the shot hit the crate. The cargo hold also seems to serve as a changing room for the crew, at least for the ones who don't wear white uniforms. A stroke of luck. The lock is open. Oil-stained overalls. And here, an old toolbox. Did the shooter just want to intimidate me? Or maybe he needed the bullet? It's been through a lot. Hardly any paint, dented, and the lid is held shut by a wire. I'll take it with me. Some wrenches, a bit of wire wool, an oily cloth, and here, a screwdriver. The young man is lying like a cheap rug. That much is clear. I've got the screwdriver. That's all I need. Can't see anything. If the bullet is still stuck in the wood, it's too deep to reach with my fingers. The wire is too flexible to pull something out of the hole. I need something less bendy. Well, I think the bullet is still in the wood. I'm not a weapons specialist, but at first sight I'd say that this bullet looks exactly the same as the one Dr. Gebhardt gave me for Legrand. That would mean that the murderer also fired a shot here in the cargo hold before the murder. But why? Did they just want to make sure the old guns still worked? Or was it something else? And did the bullet really come from the same gun? I can only check that in Legrand's cabin. He can't have anything. When we heard the shot, he was in the custody of Constable Oliver, and I hardly think the two of them are working together.
Takes the biscuit.
I noticed that the door was unguarded. I just wanted to make sure that everything was all right.
Tell it to Legrand. He's expressly forbidden anyone to speak to the witness before he does.
Don't act like that. Legrand can't manage all this alone. We're a team.
Only until the end of this case.
Legrand already knows and gave his approval.
Really? So you don't mind me confirming that with him then?
All right. Let's go to Legrand and tell him what happened. You fell asleep and then you left the door unguarded. Well, are we going?
No, but don't try it again.
Of course not. Constable is back. He can't expect... There we go. A lock, master and son. Tough to crack. If I wanted to steal the eye, I'd concentrate on getting the 3 keys. Neatly folded and unused. Legrand hasn't slept since we cast off, nor on the train. Legrand must have taken and developed the photos himself. He even made copies and enlargements. He seems to be prepared for everything, with access to more resources than a normal detective. A microscope. Looks like the one that Lutz Reichinger uses in his pharmacy, just more modern. There's nothing written on the bottle. I suppose it's some sort of stimulant, legal or not. Legrand has been awake for at least 30 hours straight, maybe more. Legrand's file on the Raven, centimeters thick but totally useless. We're not dealing with the Raven. Why can't he see that? Our man is ruthless, a bomber and quite probably a murderer. This is the pipe from the cargo hold. Legrand seems to have inspected it for fingerprints. I can still make out the powder. Aha! That's the bullet the doctor removed from the Baroness's corpse. A masterpiece. Forensic teams use kits like these, placing increasing importance on the preservation of evidence. But not in Switzerland yet. It's a small lab used to conduct simple analysis on site. All right, what have we got here? Half of the tools in this box will be interesting for an archaeologist as well. Actually, forensics and archaeology are really quite similar to each other. The goal is to find out what happened, whether a few hours ago or a few centuries ago. I'm sure Legrand could work magic in this alchemist lab. Me, I'm just awestruck. Aha! This is some kind of inventory list. For each chemical, it lists the chemical composition and a short comment on how to use it. And here's a list of the most important procedures. Fingerprints, gunshot residue, blood. I don't have to analyze the pillow and feathers to determine whether there's gunshot residue. I can smell it. And I don't have any other clues at the moment. The booklet. What's this? Oh, how practical. A hermetically sealed cotton swab for collecting samples. I'll take it. A small glass bowl for mixing chemicals. Fingerprints are overrated. Smart thieves wear gloves, or they make sure that there are too many fingerprints at the crime scene to check them all. For forensics in the woods or the open country, I suppose. No use on a ship. Good Lord. A small glass bowl. Good Lord. The booklet will be useful once I have something to analyze. Legrand must have taken them yesterday at the crime scene. Yes, that's how we found her yesterday, I think. I wasn't really myself at the time. Yes. The bed, the blood spot. The spot on the sheet is much bigger than the one on the mattress. There's blood on the blanket as well. A lot of blood, I'd say. Shot in her sleep. She didn't feel a thing. She went to sleep and never woke up. This photo provides an overview of the crime scene. A rough diagram of the ship. Legrand marked the Baroness's cabin. Seems like he didn't turn up anything else of note. Another alarm. It was Smells like chemicals. Legrand probably developed the photos in here. There are still fragments of the syringe that the inspector broke in the sink. Why is he pushing himself like this? Even if he catches the Raven, is it worth ruining his career and his health? There's nothing on the slide, and therefore nothing to see. I shudder to think a policeman on a murder, the risk that this file, no. Either he If everything goes according to plan, the first time this monster is opened will be in the museum in Cairo. Fingers crossed. Dr. Gebhardt, something... The death of... Excellent. That's just what I needed. I'm sure Captain DeConti wouldn't mind a chat, but I don't think he can help me at the moment. Lady Westmacott, may I bother you for a moment?
By all means, Mr. Zellner.
Did Miss Miller cope with all the excitement?
I think so. But what happened on the train was quite a shock for her. She wouldn't be able to go on if something happened to Matthew.
She's worried about him.
He's all she has. It breaks her heart that he lives at a boarding school and can't always be with her. But she sets her wishes and needs aside so that he can get a good education. That's her way.
Where is Matthew's father?
Gone. Run off. Ran away from his problems again. He drank a lot. More and more after each setback. It's better for both of them this way.
He left her.
She couldn't have borne it. She loved him and wanted to stick by him. She fell out with her family over him. They couldn't understand her. And when he left her, the ground opened up beneath her feet. For 2 weeks, She was as good as dead. If she didn't have Matthew, she'd be dead.
You seem to know a lot about it. I mean, about the time before Miss Miller began working for you.
I have my reasons.
And Matthew, do you care as deeply about the children of your other employees?
If you fail with your own child, you hope to do better with others, Constable.
And the idea to send Matt to a boarding school
was mine. Matthew idolized his father and blamed his mother for the fact that he wasn't around anymore. I was afraid the situation would escalate if he had to live on a country estate alone with his mother and some old people. I think I was right. He quickly made friends at boarding school. He's popular, well-liked, a real athlete according to his teachers, and his relationship with his mother has improved as well. He's headed in the right direction.
Miss Miller told me that you have a valuable manuscript with you.
That is correct.
An unpublished Part 2 novel. The manuscript must be worth a fortune.
Oh, it's not just any Part 2 novel. I wrote it 20 years ago, but it will only be published after my death. It's Part 2's last case. Maurice Part 2 dies.
You're going to kill him off?
I already have. And I enjoyed it.
Madam.
I was so sick of writing one Part 2 novel after another. I was keen to stick a knife in his guts. And so, 20 years ago, I did. Of course, I didn't want to disappoint my fans, so I let him solve case after case. But at least I was certain that he'd never escape me, that in the end, I would get him.
I understand. Let's just hope that this novel remains unpublished for many more years. I have to be going, Lady Westmacott.
Please keep me informed, Constable Zellner.
Of course. As long as the... Mr. Kreutzer clearly feels uneasy. But does Legrand actually think he's the Raven? Hello, Miss Mayers.
Hello, Mr.
Constable Zellner. Do you think it's appropriate to go sunbathing in a situation like this?
What situation?
A woman was murdered last night.
If refusing to sunbathe could bring the dead back to life, I'd go back to my cabin immediately.
Did you hear or see anything suspicious last night?
No, I didn't feel very well last night. I went to bed early.
So, you're feeling better this morning?
Thanks for asking.
I'm sure your parents are truly sorry that they can't be with you at this difficult time.
Maybe, but I'm not a little girl anymore. And thinking about my fiancé keeps me going.
You're engaged?
Yes. My boyfriend and I got engaged right before the trip. I want to surprise my parents, especially my dad.
I'm sure he'll be very surprised. But what will you do if your father doesn't agree to the engagement?
What choice does he have when he put me on this boat full of thieves and murderers in the first place?
Charming. Enjoy the sun, Miss Mayers, and don't let us disturb you.
If you're trying to make me feel guilty, Constable, it's not working.
The unusual color of the blood could be something that Legrand and Dr. Gebhardt missed last night. All cats are gray in the dark, as the saying goes. I should take a sample. I always wanted to do that. That should be enough. First, I have to put something under the microscope. A small glass... Good Lord, which of these... Good Lord, which of... Wasn't there something about blood sample? Fingerprints? You have to mix luminol and a hydrogen peroxide solution and then drip or spray the mixture on the blood. The solution turns blue and glows even if there's just a very small amount of blood. Okay then, luminol and hydrogen peroxide. Aha! Hydrogen peroxide solution. Aha! Luminol. Okay, I'm filling the pipette and putting it down very carefully. So, let's see what we have here. No blood. Not the slightest reaction. If I didn't make a mistake, and it wasn't that difficult, then the spot on the Baroness's bed isn't really blood. But if it isn't blood, what is it? And more importantly, why didn't Dr. Gebhardt notice anything? He was supposed to have examined everything. I'd say it's time to visit the medical center. It seems impossible that Dr. Gebhardt could have shot the Baroness. He was with me when the gunshot ran out. But he must have noticed that the Baroness was lying in a pool of fake blood. Maybe he's covering for someone. Let's find out. It's probably for emergencies, in case a passenger falls down and can't walk anymore. Possibly due to rough seas, or maybe the captain's well-stocked bar. The sink looks like it's been cleaned recently. I can't say whether it was cleaned to comply with the hygiene regulations, or whether there was another reason. Interesting. A tape on a reel. The reel belongs to a much better player, like the one from the Baroness's cabin. I can't be certain that this is the reel that was missing from the Baroness's cabin, but it seems quite likely. Okay. Nothing. Strange. There! Very interesting. A shot is audible on the tape, and the reel comes from the Baroness's cabin. It's all coming into focus. I guess the trash bin is in here. Right. Paper towels, plastic packaging, cartons, and... hold on. What's this? A burst rubber glove. It's knotted, and there's a red liquid all over the inside that looks like blood. I bet good money that it's the same fake blood I found in the Baroness's cabin. Dr. Gebhardt will have trouble explaining how rubber gloves full of fake blood got into his trash bin. First, the fake blood he missed in the Baroness's cabin, and now this. It doesn't look good for you, Doctor. That's proof enough for me that the doctor is involved in this. I should report to Legrand. Time to pay Legrand a visit.